it's called the Witch's Fort is what typically some people call it.
They tore it down.
No, they didn't.
Oh, they've been planning to do that over the summer. I was so bummed when they were announcing that.
So like we had, me and my friends had a demonic experience there, and somebody did get possessed up in like the top balcony there.
Really?
Yeah. And
I've been there dozens of times and never had any kind of an issue.
Really?
Yeah.
Every time I go there, I connect with something. I was thinking just to make it like safe for everybody.
Yeah.
Since I know that that's there. Have you heard of Dybbuk boxes?
Oh gosh, yes, I have.
I wanted to do one to like maybe trap it, whatever is there in, and I looked up symbols. They're just like, oh yeah, you can do ruins, symbols, and the lady that works here said you would know more about that.
Yeah.
So what?
Okay.
Like putting symbols on the box to like.
So I've never had a negative experience at the Witch Fort.
Another thing I want to ask the cards is like, is that spirit that possibly possessed one of our friends / acquaintances, like, is that still there to this day? Is this thing gonna try to attack me when I return? Because I'm gonna go back this year and try to stay overnight at this place.
Ace of Wands. The Seven of Rings. Right? We're talking very much about learning from our past mistakes.
And that's what I'm trying to correct it this time and try to like trap this thing in Dybbuk. Going back to the Dybbuk box, actually, what symbols would you suggest that I put on that and draw on?
Well, there's a number that I can provide you. I would advise anyone whom is not an active practitioner of the esoteric arts to steer very far away from a Dybbuk box.
Like even just what I would do and make one? Like to make it safer?
Do so at your own peril. It's not just about making a box.
No.
If you get one thing wrong on the sigil doesn't work. If you lose your concentration on activating the sigils, because this is the other thing, is it's not just drawing the symbol. It's about putting your will into that symbol and activating it. All right? And do you know how to do that?
No. No.
Therein is the whole point. Somebody who's been practicing for a while, Alex would know how to do that, right? She knows how to do that. Any of the witches here in town that practice sigil magic will know how to do that, right? But somebody walking in who's never done that before isn't going to know how to do that.
She said she's never heard of a Dybbuk box, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She knows sigil craft, though. So.
Yeah.
But the simple fact of the matter is, if you haven't done it, if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. That's my advice. But you do what you want to do. I can provide you with the sigils that would be necessary. That's not a problem. And like I would advise against it.
And like where to put them and stuff?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's easy. So, I mean, there are definitely sigils I could provide you, and I can give you a tutorial on how to activate. My advice is to not do it. You have agency over your own choice. If you didn't protect yourself, so if you didn't cleanse, if you didn't take your crystals with you, you're looking at the very real potential of this thing dismantling everything that you hold dear.
But like if I, like going through with the Dybbuk box thing and whatever, cleansing and whatnot, and if I for some reason did it wrong, if I didn't research it correctly, you said it would try to find me, right?
Well, I mean, the tower very much tells us that it would try to tear down everything that you find.
Or would it just attack anyone else that comes around there because it knows what other people are doing?
It would tear down everything that you hold dear.
Is activity going to be rampant when I do this Dybbuk box?
Okay, so we see judgment.
Like lots of paranormal activity will happen?
Anytime you kick a hornet's nest, you're going to get a lot more activity. So, I mean, if we go through with that, if you're not doing your research, if things go awry, all right?
And cleanse still, but
it doesn't matter. In the moment, I mean, cleansing after the fact, it just means it won't follow you. It doesn't mean it's not going to try to fuck up your life. It just can't come to your home. It just can't attack you directly, but it can influence others, which it's clearly demonstrated it can do. Do you really want to make an enemy of it?
No. Do you think it would try to turn the camera off if I tried to, like, do a Dybbuk thing?
Well, if it's feeling like it's being attacked, it's going to lash out in any way that it can.
Dybbuk box would be the wrong way to go about it?
I would strongly suggest against it.
Even though it would be gone.
Removing it might be a bad thing. We don't know enough. If you find out that it's just a dick, all right,
And it very well could be.
And it very well could be. And then we know. In which case, then the box, that's the answer.
But how do I know if it's being just...
Well, that's where the conversation comes in. That's why you take the spirit box with you. And you have that conversation. It's like, what do you want to see done here? What's the problem? Why are you angry? Why are you mad? Why did you do this on that night?
Well, what if it doesn't tell me?
It's probably going to want to tell you. It wouldn't have done it if it didn't have a motivation. And especially if it wants to establish dominance, it's damn well going to tell you why. It's going to, I did this thing because I'm the most powerful thing in this fucking valley.
Right.
Very
well is.
Pretty positive if it answers that way, it's pretty well a dick. Right? If it answers along the lines of, well, you guys came into my territory at night. I've just had a full day of people coming through here, and I was just done.
Yeah.
It's not really being a dick. It was done.
So it just being outright rude would be like...
Pretty good indicator that it's just a dick. But at the same time, we don't know what's been going on down there.
We can only make guesses.
I can provide you what you need in order to do it.
Okay.
I would suggest getting somebody else to do it.
So yeah, the thing is, like, I don't have that option at the moment. So like, will something bad happen if I do that?
Potentially.
Like what?
Like you get attached to whatever's down there, and you would end up having to be exorcised. Just think of the worst possible outcome about having an entity attach itself to you, and that's the potential. Dybbuk boxes are not something to be messed with.
No.
We have to remember a very, very important aspect of what Kabbalism is. I mean, it's an ancient tradition. It's an ancient Hermetic tradition. It's one of the first. And that's what the Dybbuk boxes come from. I mean, we're talking about magi who practiced for years who created these boxes. Right? We're talking about rabbis whom have studied their entire lives who've created these boxes. But then we want to just go out and do it because?
I'm just trying to protect the...
I understand that.
People that come there.
I completely understand that. I would be remiss if I didn't advise against it.
Would possession happen if I tried to do that? Or some sort of possession?
I would say that is a pretty positive result, the Three of Wands. Okay, that would be a yes answer. Look, we got to know our limits.
It just feels like this stuff, you got to like push the boundaries just to get what you want.
Oh, for sure. And I'm not saying that you don't push the boundaries. It's just know when too much is too much, right? In a Dybbuk box, do your research, get the knowledge base behind you, and then I would endorse that 100%. But to just go off and do it without having any of that background, without having any of that knowledge, that would be foolish. Regardless of what I say, you can do what you want to do. I would not suggest it.
It's going to piss it off, isn't it?
Immensely. Immensely. Especially if it doesn't take. It's not going to just go in there because.
No.
It needs to be attracted. What are you going to use to attract it? Do we even know what this entity, what this spirit is? What's going to attract it? Would anything work? Do you need to use blood? Do you need to use hair? Do you need to use animal bones? What do you actually need to use in order to entice this into the box? And then on top of that, what's it going to respect in order to stay in the box? And furthermore, what are you going to use in order to seal the box? And then after that, where do you put the box?
See, I heard like once it's in there, like you could just store it away in your house, but is that not true? Because it's trapped in there, it can't get out, right?
Yeah,
Unless
presumably.
you broke the seal. Like, I know how I want to seal it, like with the candle wax and stuff.
The black wax, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the question is that something that you want to risk having in your home?
Where would I put it then?
I mean, you could bury it at a crossroads. Wrap it in black cloth. Bind the black cloth 9 times with red rope and bury it at a crossroads. That doesn't mean that's a permanent solution, though. These are all the things that we need to consider, right? I mean, this is why the Dybbuk box is such a scary thing, because we're looking at a Dybbuk box that's been around, say, 100 years.
Possibly even more.
Possibly even more, and then somebody opens it because it didn't stay hidden, and then it's loosed back out there again. And it's exponentially more pissed off.
Just not at the fort anymore.
Now just out in general, right? I mean, it's one of those things. I would not suggest doing a Dybbuk box until we have knowledge behind you. That would be my suggestion. If you're intent on trapping it, that's fine.
But if I didn't have more knowledge on the Dybbuk box and I just did the symbols and whatever and just went down there but I cleansed still, what would that do?
Would it be able to take you over immediately? Probably not. Would it still be pissed off and look for you the next time you're around? Yeah, it would.
This will be the last time I go back. That's why I'm trying to like do this to protect the land.